How to choose a drummer. Man, first thing I would like to say is if you don't have a drummer right now, don't be in a hurry to add a drummer. I would rather have no drummer than a bad drummer. Okay, repeat after me. It's better to have no drummer than a bad drummer, because right now, just if it happens to be you on guitar or you on keyboard or a couple singers, bass player, then everything's pretty good. People are following you, and hopefully you're working with a metronome, you're working on your timing so that there's some confidence there. But as soon as you add a drummer, everybody follows the drummer. The whole feel, the feel of the band, the feel of what's going on is going to be pretty much dictated by the drummer. Isn't that interesting? That's crazy. But it's just the way it is. The drummer is driving the train once you add a drummer. So if the drummer is not, I'm not saying it has to be perfect, and it's not to put all this pressure on a drummer, but you know, if you're blessed to have a person that's had a lot of experience and they have the right heart, okay, always two things. You're looking at the heart, you're looking at the skill. The heart and the skill. Anytime you're trying to pick a musician. So hopefully there's an attitude where there's some humility there, some teachability there. They're just a person. You know, it's easier to add to a team than to undo a team. So remember, I've said this before, but don't just put a sign up that says, anybody want to be on the worship team, come on out. I would just go slow and start with a strong core and just slowly add players by like kind of having your antenna up and just seeing who's in your congregation, and you find out, oh, this guy used to play drums. Invite them out, don't commit to them. Say, hey, you want to come on out to one of our rehearsals and just jam with us? You can just use that in quotations. Hey, how would you like to just come on out and come out to one of our rehearsals and just jam with us? Right now we're not ready for a drummer yet, but we'd love to just be fun to just jam and sort of see what happens. And then, so bottom line is, if their timing's a little bit like this. I mean, you don't want a drummer that's like, I'm amazed how many people have said, oh man, this dude's such a good drummer. And then I hear them and it's like, they don't do the number one thing that a drummer is created for, and that is to keep good time. A good drummer, it's not all about good fills. It's about boom, boom, ga, boom, 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 ga, boom, 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 ga. Just solid timing. And I had a drummer this past Sunday at church. I've never used him before, but I had heard good things about him. And people were like, oh no, he's really good. And sure enough, he was like a timekeeper. He was very good. And so bottom line is, that's what I'm looking for. So if I hear a drummer that's got potential, I will say, would you be willing? I love your heart, and I see you've got a lot of talent. I mean, you're really good. And blame it on me. Say, man, but I heard this guy one time say that don't let a drummer come in unless they're working with a metronome or a drum machine consistently for a while or for a time. Again, I've said before that when I was going to music school, that all the good drummers would sleep with a metronome under their pillow at night. And I'm not saying that your drummer has to do that, but what that does is ingrain a sense of time, okay? So I would encourage a drummer to have one of these pocket metronomes. Our drummer used to have an hour commute each way to his job. And so he would put on a metronome for at least half of the time. And while he was driving, he would drive like this, and he had a drumstick in the other hand, and he would just go and just do quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes to a metronome. And then he'd kind of change the time and do it at that speed. And he was just drilling in the sense of time. And I could hear it and feel it over a couple months' time. I could just feel the difference on our worship team. Just how much more confidence and how much more authority there was when we would play a song. So those are some things that I would pay attention to. And if you want to show the drummer this, maybe if you feel funny telling the drummer yourself, just say, hey, want to check out what this guy says? I mean, not that I know everything, but I've just seen over the years it makes a huge difference if your drummer is playing with a time machine. Instead of metronomes, now they have drum machines, cheap drum machines, for $100, $200, where it's like, and he could practice to that, or she could practice to that. But the main thing, they've got to have that sense of timing. Otherwise, I would rather have no drummer.